Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan, and in this video we're going to be doing a Seahawks deep dive. We're going to break down their roster, their new acquisitions, their draft, their schedule, and how we see them doing in this upcoming season.
And I feel like recently we've been talking about the Seahawks for a while on this channel. If you follow us, you know that I have Russell Wilson as my MVP pick. And our last video was Super Bowl predictions. Don't want to give anything away, so go ahead and watch that one. But we did talk about them in that video. So one of the three of us had them in there. Hint, hint. A little bit of a spoiler, but go check that video out right now.
It's already out. There was the last video posted, so pretty recent.
So if you haven't left yet, then do it. Unless you saw it already, then stay right with us. So let's start talking about the Seahawks. And yes, before we started, Ryan said exactly what I was going to say. When you look at the Seahawks roster, it all starts at the quarterback position. And who is that? Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has done some great things in his career. He has constantly been in the area of winning the MVP. This year he was in it again. Obviously Lamar Jackson didn't end up winning the award. It just seemed like the last few weeks he kind of fizzled away on some of the stats and some of the games. But he's still a phenomenal quarterback regardless. Looking at some stats here from Russell Wilson. He completed 341 out of 516 pass attempts, ended with 4,110 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, and then he had a QBR over the year of 106.3, which is a very good QBR, averaged 8 yards per attempt. So very good from Russell Wilson, and we're used to seeing that stuff from him, right?
We are.
Oh, yes, we definitely are. I mean, let's talk about Russell a little longer because he deserves that respect. But, I mean, everything, like Jordan said, it starts with Russell Wilson and ends with him. If the offensive line isn't performing, he's performing, saving them. If the receivers aren't doing what they're supposed to do, he puts it right in their hands, make it as easy as possible for them. I mean, time and time again, you see Russell Wilson making great plays, and sometimes the team around him can struggle, but he doesn't care. And we're going to talk about the rest of the team right now.
And something else important on this team, Russell Wilson was the third best rusher on this team. Now you think about it, the running back should be getting it. And both the running backs got it barely above him. Chris Carson ended with 1,230 yards on the ground, then Rashad Penny 370. Russell Wilson very shortly behind with 342. Quick math in my head says it's about 28 points or 28 yards. I always say points. 28 yards behind him. So Russell Wilson, a huge threat in that run game. You see him out of the pocket. That's where he does his work. That's why Russell Wilson is so good. He's great in the pocket, but when he leaves that pocket, watch out because he is about to make a big play.
Yeah, there are other players on this team, too.
There are, but yeah.
And I was going to let one of you guys take it if you wanted to. That's why I stopped talking.
Yeah, no, I'll take it. And I mean, we made a lot of good points about Russell
I just had to
Wilson.
talk about Russell.
Yeah, and there were times last year where he bailed out that team. And even, especially there were times where the defense got inconsistent and they slacked off a little bit. And then the other team got back into that game, but then Russell closed the door at the end. So he has definitely bailed out a lot of players on that team at one point or another during his long career there. But yes, there are other players on this team. And
one of them was Anthony Gordon.
That's correct. I don't know, QB competition. Well, you never know with those Washington State guys. But enough with the quarterback position. The running backs are gonna be intense training camp for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the running backs. We'll start with that. Chris Carson is a guy. He's solid, but I don't think he's quite elite by any means. I don't think he's a top 10 guy. He can get the job done, but he's not.
That?
What was your stat? 7 fumbles, was it? Yeah, that can't be happening, especially when they kind of run a committee of running backs there. Like, he was the number one guy at times, but they also do have guys like Rashad Penny, and they also brought in Carlos Hyde in the later stages of free agency. He was on my favorite team, the Texans, so I can tell you that is an underrated signing. 1,000-yard rusher last year. I think that's a sneaky good move for Seattle, and I wouldn't be surprised if he emerges as the number one back in that backfield. The receivers, pretty good. You know, Tyler Lockett, you saw the incredible catches he made last year, the tremendous catch radius he has. He's a deep threat. And another deep threat is DK Metcalf. But my thing for DK Metcalf is I want to see him run some more routes. We know you can go up and down. I want to see some in, some out, some curls. I know that's not his game, but I want to see Seattle try and expand that with him in a second.
That was an issue for him. Sorry, Jordan, to interrupt. But coming out of the draft, that was a issue that people talked about and why he got drafted in the end of the second round was because people were concerned about that. And Ryan's Ryan's right. He does need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But even if he doesn't, he could still have a lot of production, and I'm sure he's been working on that all offseason because he knows he needs to improve on that.
Yeah, the dude's a huge man. That's why he's able to do these routes that are up and down to the sideways. I'm looking up his height right now, so just give me a second here as it's now loading. DK Metcalf is a 6'3", so it's actually not.
That's what I was going to guess.
Well, you should have guessed it. So a big guy.
6'4" in mine.
Well, we'll give him.
He's pretty tall.
6'4". He's pretty tall. He's a towering guy. So he can do some great things. Ryan mentioned Tyler Lockett as well. Just to read off some stats.
And David Moore.
Lockett finished with 1,057 yards, 8 touchdowns. Moore, as Tyler mentioned, he finished with 301 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then DK Metcalf finished with 900 yards and 7 touchdowns in his rookie season. And that was a very good rookie season for Metcalf, especially because he was not going that much early. He was playing, but he was not like going off early. Mm. He really started doing good towards the last few weeks of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's Philip Dorsett, and they drafted Aaron Fuller this year. When he wasn't that bad at Washington, so that could end up being something. And then at the tight end position, Will Dissly, a guy I really like. And then Jacob Hollister, you probably remember him from that game against the 49ers where he came up just short.
You forgot about a tight end.
And Greg Olsen, don't worry, I'm getting there. And then, of course, they drafted Colby Parkinson out of Stanford.
Yeah.
So, always a good one,
There you go. Gotta like Stanford, right?
Yeah. And then lastly, staying at that point, let's go to the offensive line. This is where they kind of have struggled for a little bit. I don't even know who their center is. Is it B.J. Finney? Is that who it is? I don't know. There's B.J. Finney, Kyle Fuller, and Kyle Fuller on here. Not the cornerback.
Yeah.
And then their guards, they have Mike Upati, Damian Lewis, who they drafted. He could be a good one. Jordan Simmons, Dwayne Brown. Sorry about that.
Wait, Dwayne Brown is solid. He's been good for a while.
He has been good. Those are just some of the guys. If I missed them, you guys can fill it in.
No, I mean, the offensive line, it's not great, but I think it has improved. When you got a guy like Russell Wilson, he'll be able to work around not having a perfect offensive line.
Yes, absolutely. He's done it time and time again. Ryan's used to seeing some bad offensive lines.
Yes, I am, yeah. A little bit of similarity between Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson at times, I feel like.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Now let's move to the other side. I'm not going to say the ball again, but the other side of the team, and that is the defense. Just if you're wondering, this website says they want a 4-3 base defense. Just if you were wondering. That's what they do.
The Seattle defense is something, this is just kind of important, that they have kind of adopted in all these teams in the NFL, have kind of taken that. They created it, other teams are adopting it now. Now there's like 8 or 9 teams that run this scheme. It's a simple scheme as a quarterback, but it does so much. And I'll talk about that more as we talk about the players, but I do want to mention that when Jordan was talking about the scheme, that is very important to this defense.
Yeah, I'll let you jump in here in a second, Tyler, but let's talk about this 4-3. First, the 3 part of it, that's the linebackers. The 3 linebackers on this team. First one, Jordan Brooks, who they drafted this year out of Texas Tech. Interesting pick. Oh, is it Texas Tech, right?
No, I'm just laughing at Jordan Brooks.
Yeah. Another interesting first-round pick for the Seahawks. Other linebacker, Bobby Wagner, who did he get the 99 this year? No,
I don't think so.
I don't think he did. No. But he got it last year. He's been a pretty good linebacker at middle linebacker position. And then KJ Wright, another great linebacker who's been in the league for a long time. The linebacker position on the Seahawks team still
just going to say that. Looks stacked. A little bit of concern in other places, but overall that linebacking core I think might be the strongest unit.
And they are filling in their secondary too, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
Tyler, do you have anything to say about the 4-3, what you were talking about? Are you still looking stuff up? Not sure what you're doing over there.
No, I was just, I was just kind of confirming that it was what I said, and I was right about it. But it's just such a simple defense. It's kind of just a normal base, like if you're playing in Madden, something like that. But it's just a lot. It's so easy for players on defense to figure it out. So like these young players like LJ Collier, even though he got hurt, will be able to figure out quickly. And Jordan Brooks. It's effective, it's easy to read, but it's also can be unpredictable. I know that sounds contradicting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just so interesting to hear about what they've done in Seattle. It seems kind of boring as well if you were to play in that defense.
And I'm kind of, really quick, didn't someone on the Jets say that Jamal Adams would get bored in Seattle?
That's what it was.
Yeah, was it the GM? I don't know who it was, but I remember seeing that headline, and I was like, well, but now that you explained that, I mean... Okay, but I mean... he clearly is not happy in New York, and he's going to a contender now in Seattle, so I'm
better
sure
not get bored. This is going to be a good team.
Yeah, I agree. So he should be just fine. But just as you said that, I made that connection.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the line for a little bit, then we'll move to the secondary. The line is probably the weaker point of this team. Now, luckily, with the 4-3 defense, they could go into a 4-3 under, which means that they have 5 guys putting one of the linebackers on the line. Don't see them do that as much. Actually, Jordan Brooks did that in Texas Tech, didn't he?
A little bit.
A little what?
So we'll see where he transitioned going on the line.
Yeah.
He's a will linebacker, so we'll see where he ends up going. They could definitely play him up like that. But anyways, so he could be considered with that group. But the other guys, Bruce Irvin is the headliner of this defensive line. He's been there for some years now, I think, and he's done some good things. Some other guys, maybe names you don't know, and honestly, I don't know these names, and I know football very well. Poona Ford, Jerron Reed, and Benson Mayowa. There it is. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I've never heard of those 3 guys, so it'll be interesting to see what they could do this year. Maybe one of them will surprise me. Not sure.
Yeah, also off the end, I don't know if you mentioned Alton Robinson and Daryl/Jarrell Taylor. That was an underrated pick out of Tennessee. Yeah. I do want to mention that because
I don't think they needed. Did they trade up for him?
I think they might have, but
I don't think that was necessary.
He was still a good player, and I'm sure they wanted him. And I think he might have been better than he might end up being better than their first round pick.
Yeah, that's Seattle for you.
I mean, I like Jordan Brooks, just didn't think he was a first round.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's a fine.
If you want to hear a backstory on Jordan Brooks, I think Jordan Brooks was the last person I watched before the draft.
Yeah.
And I was in a rush. If you watched our last video, I think it was. I might have said it. I was talking about Brandon Ayuk.
Said it a couple times.
I didn't get to watch Brandon Ayuk in Arizona State because I was in a rush to watch a bunch of teams. I really went off the last few days.
Because he started watching film in the last 2 weeks before the draft.
It was not 2 weeks, man. It was like 2 months.
Come on, man.
But I got a lot of them. Jordan Brooks was, I think, the last one that I did end up watching. Tyler was scolding me for watching him because he said that this guy was not going to get drafted first round. I saw him in a mock draft first round. That's why I decided to watch him. And guess what? The Seahawks did their thing and proved me right. So hopefully Jordan
see if they can prove themselves right for that pick.
Yeah. So now let's move to the secondary. It's been hyped up a bit, I guess. So let's just start with the acquisition, and that is Jamal Adams, the huge acquisition to this team. I think he could be a huge game changer on this team. So I'll read some stats off, and I'll let you guys analyze what Jamal Adams might do on this team. So first of all, last year with the Jets, Jamal Adams started 14 games. He played 14 games. Only 1 pick. They actually went 61 yards for a touchdown, though. Then he forced 2 fumbles. And he got, this is a nice number, 61 solo tackles while missing 2 games. The year before that, he got 86 solo tackles. So some really good stuff from him. Also, the year before that, he got a pick, and he also got 3 forced fumbles. So Jamal Adams doing some great things, especially near that line. And in the secondary.
Yeah, he's literally all over the place.
Yeah.
Yep.
Him and Derwin James, I think, are by far the best 2 safeties in the league.
I don't. It could be. I'd have to think about that.
Maybe not by far, but I think they're the best 2 safeties in the league.
Especially because they're young and they have so much room to grow.
Yeah. Even though Derwin James isn't.
You're missing Minka. I think
maybe throw in Minka. You could think about Minka, Earl Thomas, Tyrann Matthew. Maybe I think that's definitely possible.
I think Earl Thomas and Minka, or not Minka, Matthew are a bit past their prime.
Past their prime could be.
They're still really, really good safeties, but I think these guys are young and they have a lot more.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that.
Anyway, Minka is still very young.
No,
I remember.
I'd probably say he's 3, but I think I would
Yeah.
easily put Derwin and Jamal at 1.
It's just it's classic touchdown table getting into an argument that this video is not even about.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Sometimes we can talk about other things.
Yeah.
But another thing I want to talk about in terms of the safeties is Quandre Diggs, who's probably going to be lining up right next to Jamal Adams. That could be one of the better safety duos in the league. I'm very excited to see that, so I just want to point that part out.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to point anything else out while you're looking at that roster?
I mean, we could go through the rest of the secondary as well. We could talk about the Griffin brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, that's something that people have been paying attention to as they're both there now, Shaquille and Shaquem. And then Trey Flowers they got as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another interesting one. Trying to keep going through here. Quinton Dunbar, another one added to their roster. I mean, there's just a bunch of guys on here. Yeah. I could go through and have underrated people that Seattle folks would know and still be good, but I want to keep this video shorter. So.
And while we're going through a bit of defense, I'll just give you some stats on interceptions with the secondary here. First of all, KJ Wright, he had 3 interceptions, but he's not even at that position. He's at the linebacker position, so a really good job for Wright last year. But also Trey Flowers, who Tyler just talked about, he got 3 picks, and also Quandre Diggs, who Tyler also just talked about. He got 3 picks, bringing in another stud in Jamal Adams to this defense. am I seeing rumors of their old defense?
Maybe.
I mean, it seems like
Glimpses.
it's starting to pop back. You know, they got
Maybe.
that great safety back. They're getting a bunch of additions to the secondary. The linebacker core is strong. The defensive line is getting a bit stronger. Young talent. I mean, it's definitely possible. And then with Jamal Adams, I mean, that's just another factor that really puts it over the edge, and you have to watch out for this defense when you're playing them.
Yeah, when you make a move like that move they made for Jamal Adams, what you're saying is that we're ready to contend. We think we could win now, and we feel that we have a team right now capable that can go all the way, win Super Bowls, start a dynasty. Because that's what you're saying when you acquire a player of that caliber and give up so much draft compensation for the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And then finally, let's talk about the special teams as we finish the defense. Kicker is Jason Myers, and their punter is Michael Dixon.
Underrated punter. He's actually
out of Texas.
Yeah.
I believe he's from
I think
Australia.
He's
One of the better punters in the league. You're right about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had as good a year last year as he did 2 years ago, but still good. And then Tyler Ott is their long snapper out of Harvard, so a smart guy.
Well, with the Tyler's talking about Tyler's. I'm going to take it from Tyler right now. We're just
Okay.
talking about Tyler Ott. I'm going to talk about Tyler Lockett, who is their punt returner and kick returner. That's a lot of Tyler's in the sentence. Now back to you, Tyler.
Plenty of special teams Tylers. Thanks, Jordan.
I don't know what just happened.
So there it is. We all have finished
I
talking
just
about
blew
the
your
roster.
mind.
Now we're going to
I'm
give...
surprised I got that right. I usually would say
Yeah, I know,
that.
right? Me too. So let's give rough record predictions for each of us. We've already explained it, so let's start on the left side of the table for us. Your guys' right side. So Jordan, first off.
I'm going to give them a 12-4 record this year. I think they are still in a tough division there with a team named the San Francisco 49ers, who were just in the Super Bowl last year. I'm not as high as them as other people are, but I think that's going to be tough for competing against them. The Cardinals are on the rise. I don't have the schedule pulled up in front of me, but I think there will be some games that they slip just because sometimes the Seahawks just will slip some games. Maybe, I didn't talk about this video, but sometimes they run the ball too much.
Yes.
I'm surprised you didn't.
Especially in the beginning.
So
I'll
I
talk
think,
about that when we get to my turn.
maybe they'll lose 2 games in the division. Maybe they'll slip those 2 other games. So I'm giving it a 12-4 record position. Record prediction.
There you go.
Position.
Well,
it kind of made sense. It
Yeah.
wasn't what I was
Kind
trying
of
to
didn't
say.
make sense also, but...
Yeah. Let me put it another way. It makes no sense. No, I'm kidding. It was fine. But you look at the Seattle team, a lot to like, and, I think that even though this is a tough division, I think they will win this division. I think that they're going to be a sneaky good team in the playoffs. They could get very far. The potential's there. The experience is there. We didn't even mention Pete Carroll. He's got a coach with...
True.
They've got a coach with a lot of experience. He won a Super Bowl with them earlier and was in another one that they lost. So the experience
That
is
was my
there.
Pete Carroll impression.
That core is there. So
Confused by no for a bit more.
I did.
yeah,
I didn't see it.
I think Seattle is ready to make a run at this thing, and it's just a matter of how far
It's really
they get.
Pete Carroll and Sean Payton.
What?
So what's your record prediction?
I was getting to that. I'm gonna say 12-4 as well. I think that they win that division, and I think they're gonna be a dangerous team.
Yeah. All right, well, we got 12-4 across the board. Is Tyler going to finish off 12-4? I know that's a number he left to go to a lot, so we'll see.
Yeah.
As much as I want to, I'm not going to do it. I'm going with 11-5, just right under you guys.
Okay.
It's a tough division. You talked about the
We got
49ers being in that
12-4, right?
division.
Yeah.
The Cardinals also there, and the Rams.
That's good for us.
It's tough to win those games, especially against some rough teams. They have a difficult schedule
It's
as
2020.
well. They run the ball too much. I'm going to talk about that now
Yeah.
quickly, as Jordan was talking about. Their running backs aren't as reliable as Pete Carroll seems to think they are, and they just continue to run it. And
I like Rashad Penny. He's a good young guy.
It's
Chris
fine,
Carson
yeah.
just fumbles the ball too much.
But
Yeah.
when you have Russell Wilson
And
as,
Carlos
at the
Hyde.
quarterback, why are you not letting him just do his thing? It doesn't make much sense to me. But I mean, I'm not running the organization; they are, and for good reason. So, I think they should just use Russell Wilson more. That's my complaints about them. But 11-5 predictions. Watch out for them in the playoffs, though. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
All right. So there it was. I hope you liked this video. If you did, obviously, make sure to what, guys?
Like
Like it.
this video.
Yeah, like this video.
Yep.
Subscribe to our
Make sure
channel.
to
Also, hit
like
the
it.
notification bell. Comment your opinions about this team down below. We love deep dive video comments, so we
We
can
do.
go talk about the team with you guys.
If you're a
So
Seahawks
do that,
fan or
please.
Seahawks hater, let us know. We'll have a conversation.
Yeah. So with that, we will see you guys later.
See ya.